to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid. That's how they want us to be. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So they want us to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid. That's how they want us to be. That's how they want us to be. They've been celebrating all these days. They've been celebrating all these days. So what about the slavery days? So what about the slavery days? They've been celebrating all these days. They've been celebrating all these days. So what about the slavery days? So what about the slavery days? Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So they want us to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid. That's how they want us to be. That's how they want us to be. They know that I know. And I know that they know. They know that I know. And I know that they know. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So they want us to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid. That's what they want us to do. That's what they want us to do. They told us things will be better. They told us things will be cheaper. They told us things will be easier. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So they want us to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid. That's how they want us to be. That's how they want us to be. They've been celebrating all these days. They've been celebrating all these days. So what about the slavery days? So what about the slavery days? They've been celebrating all these days. They've been celebrating.
All right, folks, what's happening? What's going on out there, ladies and germs or whatever? So we had some stuff come up with Dillian Whyte, man. About time this guy has, in my opinion, has stepped up and put his career in his hands. I think there's some other things that he needs to do. Rather than taking people to court and shit like that. But this is a step. So wait for some of y'all to come in. I mean, we had some other news earlier. We got Crawford and Sean Porter fight happening. A lot of people were, mad at the Ldbc about that one. I don't know why. Like, just saying, oh, they think this and they think that, and blah blah. Would do like let people do what the fuck they want to do. It's like, that's just me. But I'm gonna put you guys on the screen share real quick. I'm not trying to hold anybody up and stuff like that. I see some people there's say 3 people watching or something like that, but ain't nobody commenting and shit like they scared or something. Or they might be, I don't know. Ain't too many people blocked on this motherfucking channel because nobody come here. But I'm gonna put you guys on the screen share real quick. This is some of the stuff that I have found. So technically, really, this is an exclusive. Because I don't like, if I could find it, I'll find it. If I can, I can't. But one thing's for sure, I don't like listening to these news outlets when it comes to some of this stuff because they leave a lot of stuff out. They have hidden agendas and shit like that. But hold up, one more thing. I'm gonna put the Z link in the chat just in case any of you guys want to get in and give your 3 cents or chime in a bit. All right. So basically with the front of this is the front of the 13-page court document that Dillian Whyte has filed, which basically is the judicial assistance and evidence from World Boxing Council. So that's what he's seeking right there, evidence from these guys. And it says a lot of stuff in here. Some of the stuff is kind of, background stuff. He has some exhibits, which are basically like excerpts from the rules and stuff like that, which is a good thing. At least he has something to back it up, but I'm not going to go into detail because I'm pretty sure if I go into detail with it, I would find some holes in a lot of this stuff. But that's not what we're here for. I'm just here to give you guys some of the latest and greatest that these news articles won't give you, news people won't give you. So basically it says applicant Dillian Whyte, a highly ranked professional boxer, and the WBC that WBC has breached, as well as in potential future proceedings between the parties, which are pending at a preliminary stage, but may end with a cash arbitration. Mr. Whyte needs this relief on an expedited basis because of the pendency of deadlines in the case, arbitration proceedings. Then it goes to say this application is supported by accompanying memorandum of law, declaration of Dillian Whyte, Nicholas Z. Biden, and Victoria E. Brennan. I gotta look up. I gotta look at this stuff too. And if it's small on your screen, it's small on my motherfucking screen too. So, here, is that better? Ain't none of y'all typing in there, but there's 4 people watching, but nobody typing. That's all good though. Just happy y'all getting the message. Ronald Finkley, what's happening? What's going down? So when you start reading this stuff, it starts going into a whole bunch of bullshit and about him being ranked in the top 10 for over 240 weeks. Currently, Ring Magazine ranks him as the number 3 heavyweight in the world. Who the fuck cares? Having previously ranked him as high as number 2. Says a whole bunch of stuff about the background and where he's been in the WBC. This part is false. Right here, the website BoxRec, widely used by those in the boxing industry and in fact relied upon by the WBC for its own rankings. That's false. The WBC holds public, not public, but they hold their own hearings to rank people in their top 15. So, and all around the board as well. And that's some of the things that Dillian Whyte is going to be looking for those minutes. But to say that WBC, relied upon by the WBC that's false. They make their own decisions with their rankings and stuff like that. Only thing that BoxRec does is helping facilitating their rankings and stuff like that, as far as what they say they put down on paper, basically. Then it goes into blah blah woo woo. It says the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board rates him the number 3 heavyweight in the world. Who cares? Although, as a WBC champion, most of the sanctioning bodies do not currently include him within their rankings. The one such body that does, the International Boxing Organization, has him at the number 1. Blah blah woo woo. His knockout to win percentage stands at 68%. Mr. Whyte is also a former kickboxer, having held the BIKMA British super heavyweight title and the European K1 title. But, he popped during them times too. So, and he has competed professionally and successfully in mixed martial arts. Then it goes on to say, in short, it is undisputed that indisputably that Mr. Whyte is a highly accomplished professional athlete, a veteran pugilist, and superior heavyweight boxer in the highest class and of highest caliber worldwide. That's not his. Well, you lost to Povetkin, buddy. The WBC is one of several sanctioned bodies of professional boxing that offers titles and belts in various weight classes and have amused for themselves the ability to order fights to fight in accordance with their directives for the titles and belts that they offered. Mr. Whyte has been a loyal fighter with the WBC system, relying on and adhering to the WBC rules and regulations and the WBC Constitution, which is how he has achieved success for the WBC Inter title. The WBC, which claims to be a nonprofit corporation recognized as such by the internal IRS, has principal place of business as listed in the annual publicly available filing with the IRS. Blah blah blah. We don't need to read that shit. Nah. Factual backgrounds and stuff like that. Talk about in June 2020, Mr. Whyte filed a grievance against WBC relating to his failure to order him as long as standing number one ranked and designated mandatory challenge, as well as the interim champion of the WBC heavyweight division, to be the mandatory fight for the WBC heavyweight championship. Filed a grievance, I guess, in 2020. I said 2022, but I meant 2020. He found a grievance back in 2020 because he wanted a shot at the title. Under the WBC rules and regulations, Mr. Whyte was required to file this as an internal grievance. I guess he filed it wrong, or I don't know. Let's read what it says. Mr. Whyte first became the number one ranked heavyweight in the WBC rankings early in November 2017, which status should have afforded Mr. Whyte the opportunity to fight the champion within a year. Instead, the WBC number one leapfrogged Mr. Whyte in favor of a lesser contender in Dominic Breazeale, and then after finally confirming Mr. Whyte as the mandatory challenger. That's because Dillian Whyte had the space and opportunity to fight Dominic Breazeale, and he didn't. He fought other people. So I think on that one, he should shut the fuck up. And then after finally confirming Mr. Whyte as the mandatory challenger, sidelined Mr. Whyte by succeeding his position to another lesser deserving contender, Tyson Fury, in the wake of enormous media report that Mr. Whyte had failed see, that's another lie. He did fail. It said Mr. Whyte as the mandatory challenger sidelined Mr. Whyte by succeeding his position to another less deserving contender in Tyson Fury in the wake of erroneous media reports that Mr. Whyte failed a doping test, which he did. Let me read what you Ronald Figgy said. The UK boxers prove the zero isn't important if the rank is third. I don't know. I just think that they just choose to. I just think that they just choose whatever the fuck they want to believe in, and that's just how it goes. I really just think that it's like that. Then Ronald Finger goes on to say, "What you think about Dillian Whyte grievance, Mike? He definitely ranked better than most. I don't care if he's ranked better than most or not. You know, he had space and opportunity. WBC mandated fights for him, and he didn't do it. He popped under UCAD." And then this thing is saying erroneous media reports. It wasn't erroneous. Everybody knows it. UCAD even put a statement out there. He popped. They popped, and him had minutes that he's popped because he had to agree with the UCAD statement that they put in, the joint statement they put out for him. So then that way he can't go back and say that he didn't. He had to accept it. So he can say whatever he wants to, but all of it's really just a bold-faced lie. Mr. Whyte held Mr. Whyte alleged, among other things, that the WBC had improperly refused to order the heavyweight division champion of the WBC to Mr. Whyte in violation of WBC rules and regulations. No, it wasn't. You beat Oscar Rivas for that title, and it still wasn't a year. So, and then you lost against Povetkin. So really, to tell you the truth, the WBC could do whatever the fuck they want. So at the end of the day, you on the mercy of them. You should have did what you were supposed to do. Let's read this shit. So Alpha says that decision of the WBC not to confirm Mr. Whyte's rights answers just basis for postponement as set forth in the letter from Alberto L. Esk dated May 27, 2020 be annulled, and that the relief requested in letter to Mr. Suleiman blah blah would be granted. The WBC would promptly confirm in writing that Mr. Whyte shall have his fight as mandatory challenger no later than February 2021. So that's what he asking for right there. He asking for the fight to be held no later than February 2021. That's what he's asking for. Then it goes on to say the WBC will notify the promoters involved in the speculated Fury, Joshua, and Wilder fights that no WBC sanction will be granted for their fights unless such a proposed bout occurs on or before October 31, 2021 is a voluntary defense of the WBC title and allows for no rematch. 2020, sorry. It says the WBC, I guess all this stuff is what he wrote back in May to the WBC, but this is the stuff that he asked for back in May 27, 2021. I mean, May 27th, 2020. This is what he asked the WBC for. This is what he petitioned for. But you lost. You lost against Povetkin, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The WBC will order that the then champion must then fight Mr. Whyte no later than February 28, 2021, and that the WBC will order that the WBC champion enter negotiations for the mandatory defense against Mr. Whyte on November 1st, 2020, to be concluded by November 30th, 2020, with purse bids to follow immediately after if no agree is reached, which such bid deadline time to ensure that Mr. Whyte's mandatory fight shall occur no later than February 2021. So this is what he asked for around May 27, 2020. And this is what he petitioned to the WBC. And I guess they told him to suck it. You know, which I don't blame him. I seriously don't blame him. This is all Dillian Whyte's fault. You asked for all this stuff, right? And on the 27th of May, 2020, right? This is when you asked for it. But in August 22nd of 2020, you lost against who? Povetkin. So he has literally no right to nothing. You have no right to nothing. You took an L. And the WBC probably right now is like, you know what? Fuck you. You want to buck up at us? Tell us what to do? Well, you lost against this old man. Hit the reset button. So Mr. Whyte has also sought copies of certain documents that were specifically identified in the June 2021 grievance. Mr. Whyte never received the request documents, and in fact, as late as a few weeks ago, the WBC has insisted it has no obligation to provide the requested documents or information. Damn, they told him to fucking get the fuck up out of here. They told him to shut the fuck up. Hold up, y'all. Let me see something real quick. Man, I was hearing a whole bunch of motherfucking noise and shit. I'm trying to figure out who the fuck was that. So where was I at? Can y'all see this good though? Y'all gonna have to let me know. Yeah, whatever the other bullshit said, man. I don't know where I was at. So the agreement setting June 2020 grievance says Before it went to a hearing or a demonstration, the parties were able to settle the June 2020 grievance on the basis of an agreement between them. The settlement agreed date 19 July 2020 provides in summary as follows: that the WBC would recognize the contractual commitment of Tyson Fury to make a voluntary defense of the WBC World Championship against Deontay Wilder, which must occur before December 19th, 2020. So that's a good thing because we knew that both parties knew of this, and the whole time, Tyson Fury team were saying that negotiations and all this stuff were voided, but everybody knew that the fight had to happen before December 19th, 2020. And we all know that Deontay Wilder gave a date before December 19th, 2020. So that's pretty good in knowing this type of stuff, because now we know the WBC had ruled this. Now we know that both parties knew. And so now we know furthermore that Tyson Fury is he got another check in the box of being a liar. Number 2 says that the day after the fight, or in case no later than December 21st, 2020, the WBC will order a 30-day negotiation period for the mandatory bout between the then WBC champion and Mr. Whyte. And like I keep trying to tell people, see, Tyson Fury held up the whole division. Tyson Fury held up the whole division with these whole actions. He held up the division with all of his antics. Dillian Whyte could have got his shot. If Dillian Whyte could have got his shot, we could have already been on the road of already knowing undisputed or on the way there. But now we know from what we just read from these 2 blocks that Tyson Fury fucked up. Number 3, in the event that the WBC World Champion fails to follow the WBC order, then the WBC shall determine that the WBC World Champion has automatically forfeited his title and immediately name Mr. Whyte as the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. Well, I guess that rumor was true. If the fight didn't happen, Tyson Fury had to give up the belt. And Tyson Fury knew this. Tyson Fury tried to blame it on Wilder. Wow. Well. We learn something new every day now. If the winner of the fight, if the winner of the fight that was supposed to happen at the end of 2020 didn't fight Dillian Whyte, they was going to have to give up the belt. And they had a 30-day negotiation period. Wow. Didn't know that. Tyson Fury knew. But then again, is all this stuff voided because Dillian Whyte lost to Povetkin and lost his mandatory position? Or did the paperwork that the WBC signed didn't have in there a clause if the motherfucker lost? You see what I'm saying? So let's go on down the list. Oh, thanks, man. I'm explaining it good. To be fair, the end of 2020 is still summer 2021. The Rona also stopped a lot of the sports and they tracks though. Yes, that's another one too. That's the unforeseeable shit, right? The unforeseeable shit. So let's read some more of this stuff. It's getting interesting. As the settlement agreed contains and confidentiality provides, Mr. Whyte is only providing here a summary of the key terms. Summary of the key terms. So in this document, it doesn't have anything. It doesn't have the exhibit for this agreement that he made with the WBC for this, which I think any judge or anybody should be like, no, we need to see it. And the reason why we need to see it is because you might not have a case for assistance in getting evidence because you don't have the right to the fight. They might do that. You don't have no right to the fight. You might not. I mean, obviously they didn't put it in here, or they didn't ask for it to be. They didn't ask the judge to open it up so he can get the evidence. What he did was he just put some excerpts in there, which he probably couldn't say that. He said it's in confidentiality. So I don't know why. I don't even think that he can even say this. See, it says Mr. Whyte would please to file the settlement agreement under seal or to provide in court in a hearing should the court wish to see it. Okay, he said he'll show it. Okay, that's good. That's good. So he ain't trying to hide that. That's good. I talked a little bit too soon. The effect of the settlement agreement was to bestow the next mandatory fight on Mr. Whyte, come that May in recognition of the poor treatment Mr. Whyte had suffered at the hands of the WBC previously. Mr. Whyte spent over 1,000 days at the top of the WBC rankings, the highest ranked contender as unseeable number one, without being afforded the right to a championship. Nope, you didn't have no right because Dominic Brazil leapfrogged your ass because you didn't want to fight certain fights that the WBC has mandated for you. So, okay, the first Povetkin fight, in the effort to remain active as a fighter and consistent with his spirits of not shying away. Let me see if anybody trying to get in. I need to move this like that, I think. And okay, cool. Nobody trying to get in. Damn, where the fuck was I at? Yeah, okay, cool. From the fighting ball, we're seeking a new opportunities in the ring. Mr. Whyte agreed to fight Alexander Povetkin in August 2020 in England. Mr. Whyte was not required to do this fight, nor was it contemplated to have any effect under the settlement agreement. It is not even mentioned. The fight was known to the WBC well before Mr. Whyte filed his grievance. It was known before. Okay, cool. It was known before, and certainly during the parties' negotiation over the settlement agreement. This fight had been scheduled and announced for May 2020 before the filing of the grievance, but then had to be moved to a later date as a result of the pandemic. The WBC was well aware of the existing of the fights because while the parties were negotiating the settlement agreement, the WBC was inquiring of Mr. Whyte's team on the status of the promoter Matchroom Boxing and requested the WBC sanction for this fight. At no time was any condition placed in the settlement agreement with Mr. Whyte's rights, therefore relating to the Whyte-Povetkin fight or depending on its outcome. In fact, the settlement agreement was silent on anything relating to the previous schedule, but later occurring Mr. Povetkin fight. Mr. Whyte fought Mr. Povetkin in August 2020, and despite leading for the first 4 rounds with multiple knockdowns of Mr. Povetkin, Mr. Whyte was knocked out by a single punch from Mr. Povetkin at the start of the 5th round, despite Mr. Whyte leading through it doesn't matter. I don't even know why they putting that shit in there. You got knocked smooth the fuck out, homie. Votes UK, what's happening? Yep. Whyte dug 2 no fights and unified and a unified shot. He's a fool. Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I don't understand about this. Things like you're not talking about the times that you fucked up. But the WBC, they stating in this document that the WBC did agree to give Dillian Whyte his shot before February 2021, and if and sometime in December 2020, if they didn't, if the winner of Wilder and Fury didn't go into negotiations or didn't meet the negotiation times before December, what is it, 27th or something like that, then they would name Dillian Whyte the WBC champion. I mean, that's what it said. So he's saying the WBC breached the settlement agreement. Relying on this, the WBC later failed to honor the commitments it made in the settlement agreement when in December 2020, on the date set forth in the settlement agreement, it failed to undertake the contractual requirements acts to initiate the mandatory fight between Mr. Whyte and then the WBC champion. Mr. Whyte later beat Mr. Povetkin in a brutal early round knockout and whatever the fuck that was in March 2020. Whatever. Mr. Whyte brought the WBC breach of a settlement agreement to the attention of the WBC in December 2020, and the parties engaged in efforts to attempt to resolve matters from then until through June 2nd, 2020 without success. Okay, this what do you guys think so far out there in the chat? Do you guys think that no matter because we really can't make an assumption on, we could say whatever the fuck we want to, but we still want to see that the grievance letter that they both signed, that the WBC and Dillian Whyte agreed upon, because there's some stuff missing that probably would show that Dillian Whyte does not have a shot in this case. We know that he lost against Povetkin. We know that because we got to keep it from the agreement of that they filed. So he got the grievance in February. They agreed on it in February. He lost against Povetkin in August, right? So we don't know if the document says that you still got to, this agreement is good under the confines of the WBC rules. Because if it says something like that, then he's going to have to abide by those WBC rules, and that, you lost and now they have to restructure. You know what I'm saying? Because there was months in between you losing that other things went down, so other people got to have their shot too. Because Dillian Whyte is not just about you. You put yourself in this situation in your career that you allowed somebody else to make decisions for you instead of you going about your business and taking the fights that you were supposed to take. So now you in this predicament right now. Now you choosing to wear your big boy shoes and to take your career into your own hands and do what you're supposed to do. But you should have been doing this. You should have, like Votes UK said, you had them 2 Mando shots and a unified shot that you chose to just squander. But for what? I don't know. Hell, you fought Lucas Brown, dude. Come on. The Court of Arbitration for Sports Proceedings. As a result of the parties' inability to resolve their dispute, the CAS, based in Switzerland, is the dispute resolution mechanism identified for disputes with the WBC as recognized as such in the WBC rules and regulations. The WBC has not disputed the case jurisdiction in the case CAS arbitration. The 3-person arbitration panel has been established by the CAS, the parties which are able to select one, and those 2 were able to select a third. And no objections to the panel's composition has been made. The CAS Code of Sport-Related Arbitration requires the parties to maintain the confidentiality of proceedings before it. As a result, Mr. Whyte is not filing here the CAS filed documents of the parties, but will be pleased to provide them at an evidentiary hearing with the court, or to file those documents under seal should the court seek to review those documents. So he's saying he'll provide it to the court so they keep it sealed and stuff like that. So it isn't. So we got the gist, right? I'm not going to read into all this shit, but there's some other documents that I wanted to show people. So these are the requested. This is the requested stuff that Dillian wants. These are not all of it, but these are like the key things. There's another document that goes into details, and I'm gonna show you guys that as well. But we got Ronald Finger said that's epic. Whyte was KO'd by a single shot. So true. I had Whyte shutting Povetkin out, and then pow. Yeah, it was smooth as fuck. Ronald Finger said single shot from hell. Ronald Finger said he came to America maybe That's when he filed the grievance there. Therefore, after clear. No, he could have filed it overseas. He could have got a lawyer in. Well, did he go to Florida? Because that's where one of these lawyers is held out of Florida. So they got a Florida-based office and shit like that. It's pretty interesting that Dillian Whyte really hasn't been talking about this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's people in the media, blacking it out or, and stuff like that. But obviously Dillian Whyte, he stepped his A game up, and I applaud. Hey, shout outs to Dillian Whyte, man, for doing something a lot of these boxers ain't doing, which is, well, some of his money, because it costs money to file a grievance with the WBC. It costs money to file a grievance with CAS. All this stuff costs money. And a lot of people don't have the money, but some of these cats do got the money, and they ain't busted a grape. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of these boxers need to start doing this. And I think this, if y'all ain't sticking together and stuff like that, and D-Lo 404 boxing was happening. If these boxers ain't sticking together and stuff like that, and pushing what they want, well, then start suing these motherfuckers. Start suing them. Start filing grievances. Start sending these motherfuckers left and right to court and stuff like that. That way they got to spend their motherfucking bread. That way they got to start thinking like, how can they start doing right, or these dudes gonna keep hitting us in their pockets. You know what I'm saying? Now this is some of the D-Lo 404 boxing. So there was some stuff that we read earlier that was pretty interesting. So the WBC and Dillian Whyte did see all this stuff was confidentiality. Nobody knew besides these guys. But this is what the WBC, see, it says right here, the agreement settling the June 2002 grievance. To June 2020 grievance. Before it went to hearing or determination, the parties were able to settle the June 2020 grievance on the basis of an agreement between them. The settlement agreed date 19 July 2020. The settlement agreement provides in summary as follows. Check this out, D-Lo 404 boxing. If you're still there, it says that the WBC would recognize the contractual commitment of Tyson Fury to make a voluntary defense of the WBC World Championship against Deontay Wilder, which fight must occur by or before December 19, 2020. Then it goes on to say that the day after the fight, or in case any, it says the day after the fight, or in any case, no later than December 2020, December 21, December 2020, the WBC will order a 30-day negotiation period for the mandatory bout between the then WBC World Champion and Mr. Whyte. And in the event that the then WBC World Champion fails to follow the WBC order, then the WBC shall determine that the WBC World Champion has automatically forfeited his title and immediately name Mr. Whyte as the WBC World Champion. Hey. All right, cool. D-Lo. I just wanted to give you that one. So they it was true that fight didn't happen. Dillian Whyte got the belt. So requested disposition. I think I forget what excerpt this is. It's probably E or F. It's one of them two. It says 1, Marcelo Suleiman, president. 2, Alberto Leon, vice president. 3, federal civil whatever disposition of persons must acknowledge at WBC on whatever. So it says Mr. Whyte's WBC eliminator against Chisora in December 2016. Each and all of Mr. Whyte's title fights, international silver, diamond, interim titles, all requested a proposal in relationship to Mr. Whyte's fighting for the full WBC heavyweight champion title. including in relation to eliminators and final eliminators for the same. Mr. Whyte final eliminator and interim title fight against Rivas in July 2019. The alleged UK D-Lo, it says alleged UK anti-doping rule violation against Mr. Whyte in July 2019. It says alleged. The designation of Bermain Stavern, Dominic Brazil, Mr. Whyte, and Tyson Fury as mandatory contenders in the division. That's because you opted out on not fighting in certain mandatories with the WBC instead of you said you was going to do your own thing. So you got what you fucking deserve. The suspension of Mr. Whyte's mandatory status because y'all calling it an alleged adverse analytical finding, but you did pop. Warriors boxing. What's happening, baby? What's going down? Then it says the status of Alexander Povetkin following his 22nd August fight against Mr. Whyte. That's because you got your ass whipped. The status of Mr. Whyte following his August 2020 and March 2021 fights against Alexander Povetkin. The WBC rankings of Dillian Whyte, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Dominic Brazil, Eric Molina, and Bermain Stavern. Why are we still talking about Bermain Stavern? The eliminating status of Dominic Brazil, November 2017 fight against Eric Molina. You didn't want to fight. The April 2018 designation of Dominic Brazil as first mandatory of the division and ordering by the WBC of Mr. Whyte versus Luis Ortiz for the second mandatory position. See, you should have took that 2018 joint because you would have had your fight. The order and revocation of the order of the WBC for Dominic Brazil to fight Mr. Whyte for the mandatory position and the same in relation to Tyson Fury for the interim title and diamond belt because you've been doing a whole bunch of fucking up. The action of the WBC Congress regarding Mr. Whyte and his fight with Povetkin taken in October 2020. To me, all in all this shit he talking about in here is a bunch of BS. You know, that nerd can suck it. Let me see what y'all saying in this motherfucking chat. That's cool. I ain't got no dislikes. I better not for just speaking facts. I mean, I hope not. Shit. Okay. What we got? What y'all saying in there? D-Lo 404 Boxing said that Booger Wolf kept turning down eliminator bouts. Yeah, and he kept his position. They didn't dump him. He got lucky they didn't dump him. They could have, right? They could have dumped him, right? They didn't do it. He got lucky. Yep. He said rap scraps. Yep. Warriors Boxer said rap scraps. That's all it was, bruh. Let's see here. So this is exhibit what F? I think this one right here is what he's talking about. This is what Dillian Whyte is asking for, right? He's asking for the relevant period is August 1st, 2015 to the date of our response to this request. God damn, he won't like 5 years worth of information. And then he says they want a whole bunch of information. They want communications from WhatsApp app, text messages, exchanging text messages, memorandums, documents, writings, forums, communications, including but not limited to oral and written communications. They want everything. Copies of, set forth, whatever. The words of any all shall be read in conjunction. They want everything, anything that brings up Dillian Whyte, anything that comes up with ranking systems and heavyweight division in WBC. They want everything. They want minutes. They want everything. PDAs, Blackberries, Palm Pilot, cell phones, IM2, USB drives. They want everything. Documents to be produced. All documents, correspondence, communications, and electronics, something that stands for electronic stored information, referring or relating to Mr. Whyte or his agents, representatives, managers, and counsels. They want all this shit, and this and they also want other shit too. What you say, Warrior? Oh, D-Lo says something. I said I feel like any fighter who turns down eliminator or title fights after winning a title eliminator should be dropped 5 to 10 spot. Yeah, they should be dropped. Yeah, 5 to 10 spots. Yeah, let somebody else. Give somebody else a chance. Somebody else will take it. Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury been holding up the WBC heavyweight division. They've been holding up the heavyweight division, period. They've been holding it. So, documents to be produced. They want, Abe says, Matchroom Sports, including but not limited to Edward Hearn, Frank Smith, Sean Palmer, and Paul Reddy. So, see, the good thing about this, you get to know some names in here. So, for later on, you hear somebody's name pop up, you know the connections with them and stuff like that. So, he wants some triple BOC, included not limited to Robert Smith, Charlie Gills, Dennis Gil Martin, and Mike Coyler. Top rank included but not limited to Bob Arum, Todd DuBoff, Harrison Whitman, and Charles Moretti. Queensberry Promotions included but not limited to Frank Warren, Francis Warren, George Warren, Andy Elling, and Jason McClory. PBC included but not limited to Al Heyman, Sylvia Brown, Brad Owens, Sam Watson, Luis Cubas, Mike Ring. Tyson Fury and his manager, MTK Global, included but not limited to Lee Ainton. They should have put Daniel Kinningham in that bitch. Deontay Wilder and his manager, Shelly Finkel, included but not limited to Shelly Finkel. Dominic Brazil and his manager and promoters, Tom Brown Promotions, included but not limited to Tom Brown. Romain Stavern and his manager, promoter, Don King What the fuck? Is he still his promoter? I don't think so. I thought he dropped his ass. Not limited to Don King. Phil Jones, a.k.a. Phil J. of World Boxing News, and Michael Benson of Talk Sports. Damn. What the fuck they want them for? Oh, probably for some media shit. They probably been told some shit too, so. D-Lo said, White been crying about WBC shot forever, all while turning down the AJ rematch for 3 belts. Yeah, he did. Not enough money. I thought money got you. I thought belts got you the money. I thought that's what you wanted. I would have took it. I'm just saying. Now, where was I at? Okay. All documents, correspondence, communications, and ESI referring or relating to the following: Mr. Whyte's WBC eliminator against Chisora, December 2016. Each and all of Mr. Whyte's title fights, international silver, international silver, silver diamond, and interim titles. Our requests and proposals in related to Mr. Whyte fighting for the full WBC heavyweight championship title, included in relation to eliminators and final eliminators for the same. Mr. Whyte's final eliminator and interim title fight against Rivas in July 2019. The alleged, stop saying alleged. You popped, homie. UK anti-doping rule violation against Mr. Whyte, July 2019. The designation of Romain Stavern, Dominic Brazil, Mr. Whyte, and Tyson Fury as mandatory contenders in the division. So it's kind of going over some of the same shit that we already talked about. They want this stuff in 30 days. They said they want all documents, corresponding communications, ESI referring to or related to UCAD agency and Mr. Whyte. Whyte lucky that the WBC didn't do their investigation. Now WBC wish they did their investigation. Okay, this says, let me get a sip of this Guinness. They keep saying alleged piss test, but I don't see the alleged part. I don't know what the alleged part is. Mr. Eddie Hearn, who was Mr. Whyte promoter, admitted publicly before the Whyte versus Povetkin bout by disseminating a communication from WC president that the effect via social media. And after that bout in public media interviews that claimant was putting and had put his mandatory position at stake in the first fight against Povetkin. The WC has also issued an order to that effect as annual convention, which thousands of people attended, including matchroom personnel. The WC, including an order in its official minutes, and disseminated that order through the WC webpage on the internet and via social media. I don't remember that, but whatever. It don't matter, man. I'm not reading all this shit because, but what y'all think though? I want to see what y'all think about some of this stuff I read. Don't y'all think it's kind of, some of this stuff is kind of revealing that new motherfuckers knew about this shit right here all along this whole time? They knew. This whole time they knew that, you know, Dillian Whyte could have been the WBC champion. And nobody said a word. We heard rumors about it and stuff like that, but we didn't hear nothing concrete. Dillian Whyte ain't never said it. I ain't never heard him say it. But now all of a sudden, you're reading this document. It's talking about forfeiting the belt and making Dillian Whyte the champion. Ben C said, Wilder and Whyte don't have a grudge match. I'll be pissed off if Wilder retired and that fight didn't happen. It sells big in the UK, like 50, 60,000 fans, easy. I mean, probably more than that. If AJ can sell out an arena against Carlos Takam. I mean, I'm just saying. But I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset. And the reason why I wouldn't be upset because Dillian Whyte should have put his big boy pants on a long time ago. Dillian Whyte should have been suing. Dillian Whyte should have been fighting the correct fights instead of ducking. That's what he did, ducking fights. He could have fought for the WC heavyweight championship title before Dominic Breazeale, but what he chose to do was dick around with his whole boxing career and listen to people like Edward Hearn. And like I said, man, what y'all think about all this stuff, right? Now we see why the WBC put stimulations to having the fight, for having Wilder versus Fury before December 19th. Now we see. Now we know why. Because of the shit they had going on with Dillian Whyte. But we do know that when Dillian Whyte got dusted off by Povetkin in August of 2020, the WBC did not mandate him as the mandatory challenger. D-Lo 404 Boxing said one key component never took place, the contracted trilogy. So it's like taking that one domino as they are failing. It killed everything after that. Yeah. Yes, it sure did. Because Dillian Whyte was talking about he had to have that his championship fight before February 2021. But I'm still interested. I know what Dillian wants. He won his title shot. But there's no way he's going to have it before August 9th or whatever. No way he's gonna have that before then. He's gonna have to have it. I mean, October 9th. He's going to have it, December or February. Raw Sportsman Elite was happening. Boy, oh boy, you missed it. Boy, oh boy, you missed it. You missed it. You missed some good stuff, man. You missed some good stuff. I saw somebody say this part. In the event that the WBC World Champion fails to follow the WBC order, then the WBC shall determine that the WBC World Champion has automatically forfeited his title and immediately name Mr. Whyte as the WBC World Championship Heavyweight Champion. And this is the agreement this is an excerpt from the agreement with Dillian Whyte and the WBC. This is an agreement with Dillian Whyte and WBC that was dated 19 July 2020. This is crazy, man. I don't think he's gonna win it though, man. What y'all think? Y'all think Dillian Whyte's gonna win that? He gonna win that cash case, man? Y'all think he gonna get his? They gonna order the WBC to give him his shot? Well, what we just read, y'all think that he got enough? You think he gonna get enough evidence? Because the only thing he could get that's gonna give him the shot is that they really just tried to put the fuck to him, But it kind of sucks because a lot of this stuff we won't even be able to see, man. Because it's with them cats in Switzerland, and they ain't gonna fucking tell us everything and stuff like that. They gonna do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna be work. He's wasting his money. He's wasting his time. I think that what he should do is not stop at this, right? Go on and let it run its course if you want to. You got the money, but you can't stop here. You have to fight those fights that are in front of you, and you had them. You could have had a shot at Deontay Wilder before Dominic Breazeale. You see what I'm saying? And you and all of this could have been settled, but you can't stop now. You know what I'm saying? You got to put your big boy shoes on, and you need to be looking at them dudes. You need to be calling for the See, he could have said, "Hey, WBC, these guys around here ain't fighting. How about you make me versus this guy for the mandatory challenger, and you let us get the winner of Deontay Wilder, right? And Tyson Fury, because you guys because there ain't been no mandatory defense of the title in how long? All these boxers got careers in his ranking systems, and there's 15 of us, 10 of us or whatever, and we all need our shot. So how about you let us get that, right? And let's keep the ball moving. Yeah, Ronald Finkley. The WBC's been very forgiving with Dillian Whyte. Been very forgiving with Dillian Whyte. Remember what D'Lo said? He skipped out on final eliminatory on mandatory defenses that they ordered him, and he didn't get dropped. He didn't get dropped no 5-10 spots. Yeah, Whyte brings some money in the UK. Yeah. I wouldn't say I wouldn't watch none of his fights when it's against somebody like above Lucas Brown. Those are some interesting, a little bit sloppy in here and there sometimes, but interesting fights. Raw Sportsman Lee said October 9th, Dillian Whyte will fight Wilder for the title. Hell nah. You better cut that out. You better cut that out, Rob. Hell nah. That's you blaspheme. I'm joking with you. I thought y'all had more to say. What y'all thought about? Oh well, yeah. I see what he's saying. Yeah, I mean, Ron Finn, come on, man. They ex world champion and Lucas Brown, and come on, man. We all knew that dude was hot ass. We all knew he was hot ass. But Dillian Whyte ain't saying shit about this. I don't think Dillian Whyte, like on social media and everything, he's extra quiet. I believe. Let me look at his Twitter because he talks a lot. No, he ain't saying shit. Only thing I hear is Edward Hearn going out here selling wolf tickets on who Dillian Whyte fight next. Don't Dillian Whyte got a YouTube page? I wonder what's his YouTube page called. The Bati Man Snatcher. It's called Mrs. White. Is it called Dean White? What's that dude's YouTube? I know he got a YouTube page, but he ain't been saying shit about this. He ain't been saying shit about nothing. It's possible. Votes UK. That's Votes UK said, Mike, you think they will franchise Fury fight week? You know what? It's possible, bruh. But will Fury take it? This is the question. Because Fury ain't got to take it. Fury ain't got to take it. Fury and Wilder might just say fucking and fight Dillian Whyte. We just don't know. We just don't know. I don't think I would hope Fury won't take. And I'm not trying to down Fury. I hope Fury won't take that franchise thing because I think that's a hot ass mess when it comes to the sport of boxing and what Fury has been saying, fighting the best and all that stuff. And I don't think that he would. I just hope that he won't. I just hope that he won't. And then, getting franchise on the lieu of all this stuff, I don't think it'd sit well with the them cast people, the Court of Arbitration in Sports over there in Switzerland, something that the WBC said they will abide by. I don't think it'd sit well. Ronald Figure said, I haven't seen any heavyweight on Twitter or YouTube, especially if they are arguing. Yeah. I mean, everybody ain't arguing. I mean, AJ didn't argue. Wilder didn't argue. Lovejoy just calling people out. A lot of people ain't arguing. It's just that they get, some of their tweets, they do get caught up in the arguing mess of going back and forth, especially Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury. It just seems like everybody think that just opening your mouth and just talking shit will automatically just sell a fight and get fans to jump on board. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Ron Figley said, I haven't seen any heavyweight on Twitter Ron Figley said no boxing this week, but Border Wars boxing Saturday for the avid Fisher Juggy. There's some fights this week. You got Tay Jones boxing this week. If you go on Twitch, they should have some fights in Atlanta. That thing went away. There's some fights this week. You just got to find them. I know. What is it called? It's called. If you guys go on there on Twitch, it's called. Oh, that's Twitter. There we go. If you go on Twitch, it's called Buckhead Fight Club. They be putting on fights on there. They be having live fights on there and stuff like that. So right now they just got a live video of people working out in the gym, but they be having live fights on there. Tay Jones was on there. A couple other people was on there as well. You just got to go find them, man. But that's the thing is like there's not a lot of advertisements with these guys. I think that people like Buckhead and stuff like that just think that they need to do a little bit more advertisement. They do have a Facebook page and I don't know if they have a Twitter or whatever, but I think that there should be a little bit more like these boxing scenes and stuff like that. I think that they should have um, um, a bulletin board just for fights. So then that way you could just put the fight, how to watch the fight, if it's if it's a subscription or pay-per-view through a third-party app or whatever the case may be. I think that'll get the ball rolling with a lot of people making some money, because these guys who are not ranked, who's trying to make it and stuff like that, an extra $30 in their pocket, at least for gas or for food or for equipment, water, towels, the media equipment and stuff like that. Kind of like how people do it on YouTube. You watching, hitting that like button, subscribing to their channel, sharing, super chatting, joining your subscription to their YouTube page. All that goes in, all that should go into account for creating better outreach for their channel and better equipment. So everything's a lot easier on the ear, a lot easier on the eye, and more research could be developed and stuff like that to give you better content. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's what they should do. I know Buckhead is they got the boxing voice in there with them sometimes for their fights, doing the live commentating. So yeah. Any of you guys have any questions or want to get on? I'm gonna put the link in the chat for a second here. Give y'all a chance to come on. And I already did put the link in the chat. Only thing I ask that if you do come on, just be respectful. No racial words, the C word and stuff like that. No calling people out of their name. Try to keep it respectful. I don't care if you're talking about fighters and stuff like that, but as far as just individuals and stuff like that, just keep some of that some C words and coon and the one that and the saltines, keep that to a minimum, please. But like I said, anybody is welcome to come on here and talk about the subject that we are talking about right now. If they want me, if you're too tired to type, if you can't get your shit out because it's too long, if you want to discuss some more things, you want me to show some other stuff in these documents, yeah, come on and give your 3 cents. On other than that, what you guys think about Crawford and Spence, man? Crawford and yes sir, Sean Porter, Mr. Big Tie. You know what I'm saying? He still don't know how to tie no damn tie. Well, he don't know how to coordinate the damn tie, in my opinion. I think if you that sort of stature and shit, you shouldn't be having no big ass tie like that. But I think that's going to be a good fight. And I think no matter who the winner is, I think they should get all the credit in the world for the fight. Even though we all know that Sean Porter took a couple of L's and stuff like that. But I think that Crawford, if he happens to win, I think he should get all the credit in the world for winning that fight, man. I mean, it's not like Sean Porter is going to come up in there and lay down. I mean, we all hope he don't lay down. He don't come in there out of shape and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. We hope that both fighters come in there 100%. I think it's going to be, I think as far as both of their styles, I think this is going to be nice. I think it's going to be nice. Sean Porter, only thing he needs to do is just correct his punch angles and work on that defense. He got the stamina. He's light on his feet. He got a bit of a defense, but he needs to work on that defense a little bit more and work on his fine tune those heat seeking missiles, because a lot of times those big shots just be missing just by a little bit. They don't be missing by a lot. These are missing like a little bit. But I just think that he needs to work on that a lot more and and actually work on that for the guy he's fighting instead of just, shadow boxing and shit like that. Work on throwing those punches a little bit tighter sometimes. Aim for the bottom of the chin. Aim for the chest a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Put those hooks a little bit tighter. Sometimes you can't just throw, one style of hook the whole time. What you guys think though of that fight? Don't think nothing. Huh? Nothing, y'all. Hey, I guess y'all just listening. Well, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. It's time to get something to eat. Gave y'all time to come on. Y'all didn't, but it is what it is. I extend my my arm, reach out there to y'all every single time, anytime, from now into the future. And shout outs to Ronna Fingley for coming up in here. Shout outs to Votes UK for coming up in here. Shout outs to D-Lo for Boxing for coming up in here. Shout outs to Warriors Boxing LLC. Shout outs to Broad Sportsman Lee for coming up in here. Shout outs to Ben C for coming up in here. And on that note, shout outs to the LDBC, and everybody stay sucker free.